Hello again. I want to talk to you today about a few little things. The other day, I was watching Only Lovers Left Alive with my partner. If you haven't seen this film, it's essentially about moody vampires who are super cool, super cultured, and perfect in every way. There's one scene where Tilda Swinton realizes that her husband has been thinking about killing himself and confronts him about it. And something in this scene really stuck out to me.
How can you have lived for so long and still not get it? This self-obsession, it's a waste of living that could be spent on surviving things, appreciating nature, nurturing kindness and friendship, and dancing.
As I was sitting there listening to her monologue, I realized that a lot of this seems to apply to me. I feel like I've been locked away for so long, locked away in self obsession. I spend so much of my time thinking about myself, thinking about my condition, thinking about my career, my artistic expression. I spend too much time, way too much time examining myself. And I'm only one person. I'm only so deep. There's not really that much I can explore. And I think it's time to change that. This little monologue kind of shook me. It shook me out of this self obsession. And it made me realize I need to change. I need to externalize my mind, to live in the world, to interact with other people and ideas and places and culture and expose myself to the eyes of the world. As public and visible as I try to make myself, I hide behind so much. I don't make myself known. I don't expose myself in ways that matter. It almost just feels like I'm sending messages in little glass bottles, and that's how I'm communicating and interacting with the world. But I want that to change. This means like challenging myself. This means reaching out in more dramatic ways. But for now, while I can, I'm going to change my media diet first. Because I think back to when I was in my early 20s. I think back to the zest, the lust I had for life and living and for culture and creativity and for the human stories. I was obsessing over Shakespeare. I was obsessing over classical music. I was obsessing over Arabic poetry. I was obsessing over so much depth of feeling. This is back when I downloaded every single Cirque du Soleil show that I still have, by the way. It's back when I was watching Sky Arts of all things. I discovered Jamie Cullum. I discovered Howard Goodall. I used to watch the Portrait Artist of the Year and just marvel over the creativity of these artists. Fuck it, Sky Arts taught me who Andre Rieu was. And it showed me Werner Herzog eating his own shoe, which sparked a lifelong desire for truth and poetry and I miss that. I crave that again. I crave that kind of challenging media. Right now or these days I spend most of my time rewatching old YouTube video essays on things that are not important. There's only so many times I can rewatch Jenny Nicholson's Bronycon video, or so many times that I can rewatch an H Bomber Guy video that is amazing and wonderful, but so trivial when compared to some of the depth of expression that is out there. And I don't mean to belittle these things. I don't mean to belittle. There's this concept of high culture and low culture. I forget the name of the theorist who came up with this framing, but I reject it so wholeheartedly. I really despise it because I don't mean to say that classical music is more important than pop music. Not at all. What I mean to say is, for me, classical music will give me a more full view of life than pop music can right now. That I will reach deeper into what it is to be a human being if I analyze the poetry of Khalil Gibran versus, I don't know what a good comparison in the modern world is, versus watching a Drew Gooden video, as much as I love that guy. And so I think I'm going to begin with this media diet. I'm not going to fly too far in one direction as I'm wont to do. I'm going to balance the books. I'm going to balance challenging media versus comforting media. For instance, Derrick G, if you're not familiar with him and you're a music head, you should get into Derrick G. His podcast, Solid Air, is this perfect mixture of comfort and depth and challenge. You will find some of the most amazing music from some of the most interesting musicians alive. There's a channel called Nowness that has some of the most interesting little views and glimpses into humanity. And by that same token, I'm going to disconnect from some things. I'm going to disconnect from discourse, from current affairs, from politics. And it's not to say that I should do these things. It's not to say that these things are not important. But right now, where I'm at, I need to separate myself from what seems important, what seems immediate and urgent. I need to separate myself from that so that I can reconnect to what actually feels important. That might be politics. That might be current events. What's happening now is more important than anything that's ever happened ever. But the challenge in our modern world is, how do you disconnect yourself from the urgency economy? There are people out there that make things feel urgent even when they aren't. I think about that recent discourse around Timothy Chalamet saying that opera and ballet were dying art forms that nobody wanted to watch anymore. And I saw how angry people got on the internet about this, and I thought, these people have too much time. They have way too much time on their hands and they don't have anything to be mad at. So they're getting mad over something that realistically is not that important. I think of Plato's cave. I think of the shadows dancing on the wall and people being so obsessed by these shadows. And I think of this entire population of people out there in the world. There are people out there who have left the cave and they're engaging with the real world. And I mean the real world. This is something I always admired about Werner Herzog. As poetic and as ephemeral as he is a concrete human and he values the concrete. He admires people who know how to milk cows. He has a profound respect for factory workers, for farmers. And that's usually not something you associate with the cultural, artistic world, but they should not be separated. And when you think of Instagram discourse media, when you think of that person that you go to talk about current events, think about how much they give a shit about factory workers. How much do they give a shit about exploring the complicated nuances of the human condition? How much do you think they care about the benefit of the doubt? Just maybe trying to look for a bit more context or adding some perspective to the world. Or are they just getting angry and outraged and giving you reasons to be angry and outraged? I think that's something we all need to disconnect from a little bit. and start exploring life, living. There's a group of people that I used to call my peers, and these were the greatest artists that ever lived, the most platformed artists in history. And my goal was not to make something as good as them. I mean, it was back then, but I was slightly deluded. My goal now is to try and make something as good as them. Because I think in all these years, what I've learned is that joy is in the trying, joy is in the attempt. It's not in the achievement, it's in the reaching. When I try to describe to you in a very quick way, what am I trying to do? I think I'm trying to reach for something, and I think I'm trying to surround myself with people who are reaching. And that's it. So less about me, more about the world. Less about my life, and more about ours. About what it is to be a human. About how we've been trying to be human over the centuries. That's going to be tough to do each week, but I think I'm going to try to shift this channel to something like that. To shift these videos into something like that.